All right, on the way back, and we totally forgot to film this part with Jimmy and Jason. That's 100% my fault. Nope, nothing personal, guys. We were very tired, so.
It seemed like we actually, getting home took a lot less time than actually getting there for some reason.
Yeah. And there was a little bit more traffic too, which is the weird part.
Yeah.
All right, so last question we asked was, WizKids have stopped using some mechanics, which would you want to bring back, right? So this one, the next one, which mechanics that are still in use would you like to get rid of and why, or would you fix it and how? What would I get rid of right now? Shape change.
Yeah. Mechanic?
Don't die tech. Like, just let characters die like they're supposed to. I mean, I know it makes sense for certain characters, but stop making clicks with those characters. Like, I'm even guilty of it in this tournament trying to play Don't Die Tech, so fuck. Stop. Yeah, just stop.
Every other click is a stop click. That's fucking annoying.
Yeah. The slow slog to try to get through.
Get rid of that goddamn lockjaw. I only played him once today out of the 4 rounds that I played, and I didn't have to deal with it. I'm like, I'm not even going near that thing.
In the 5 rounds of the tournament, I think I played against like 4 lockjaws, and I didn't play one of the rounds of the tournament because I was on the bye.
Yeah, same with me.
So
it was like, I'm not even touching that lockjaw. I understand the concept. I do. But I don't like the I don't know, it's just, and I don't know how I would fix it. I'd just get rid of the whole mechanic of removing action tokens in order to
remove protected outwit. So that, I say remove protected outwit from the power so that you can pre-plan for it.
Okay.
Right? Because it kind of makes sense comically. Like, I understand, keep the protected pulse wave, because with pulse wave, there's enough complications as it is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's already a stupid powerful power. But if I can plan for you getting on the stop click, and I can outwit it, let me outwit it, you know? I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think that would, I don't know, I just, Don't Die Tech is a thing. I can get around it, but I just don't like the fact that I have to get ready to slog through 1,000 turns of some games.
Yeah, my 100-point character should not take 16 rounds or 16 turns to kill your 50-point character just because you're like, look, I'm resurrecting, look, I'm resurrecting, look, I'm resurrecting.
All right. Next up, which mechanics are over/underused, and how would you suggest they improve the issue/problem? There's a lot of carry mechanics that like carry a bunch of characters but don't you know what, no, that's not an over/under. Who am I kidding? That's a requirement of this game at this point. I feel like I'm answering before thinking about the answer. Over/underused mechanics, oh geez. I mean, they've started to kind of mitigate Colossal Retaliation and only put it on a couple of Colossals, so like it was overused to a certain degree as far as a mechanic and mechanically on characters, but then they started to mellow it out with the right characters.
Yeah.
Because we got all those cosmic characters, and I said, like, cosmic beings are not retaliators, and they turned out to not be retaliators, so that made a lot of sense.
It did, because I mean, you would have, your idea of retaliation would be some kind of brood or, you know, king or something like that. So I could understand Surtur or Groot or Carnage or something like that having that ability. But Eternity, Thanos,
yeah,
no,
they shouldn't be, and they did. So
no.
So I wouldn't say that's over or underused. What, you know what? Let's go with underused, because overused is a hard one because there's a lot of really good mechanics, and we already just kind of complained about stop clicks. So what's underused? No, actions after taxi are fine. There's plenty of those that don't need to exist.
Yeah, I would think that if you've got certain, I'm gonna say it this way because it sounds, this is more from a comic as opposed to a game mechanic origin.
I actually came up with mine, but go ahead.
Okay. The Green Lantern team ability. The Green Lantern team ability in itself, hey, let's carry 8 people, is a great idea. But if you really stop and look at it, when the Green Lantern is carrying somebody, 90% of the time, it's enveloped in some kind of bubble or some kind of shielded object. So I would say, reduce the number of people they can carry, but everybody gets energy shield deflection.
Neat.
Something like that.
That's a good design suggestion. But as far as underused, I think improvements on team abilities on certain types of characters is not plentiful enough. Like for a while, we had, for example, if we go back to Giant Size X-Men, we talked about that earlier in the in our talks, and we talked about when we talked about that, the figure came up, the Cyclops, who's, that set came out with a change to the X-Men team ability, but then that Cyclops kind of added to that change, where if I remember correctly, his was like you added +1 to the die roll when you were checking for the X-Men team ability, or increase the healing on the X-Men. Either way, interactions with the team abilities that exist right now, like we got it with Defenders, we got it with these guys who share attacks and defenses. But can we get like some of the other ones a little bit of Teen Titans need some goddamn love.
Oh,
right?
They do, but I don't understand, because there's like not even a 300-point team that you can make with Teen Titans, I don't think, nowadays, and that's like using the ones from Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The X-Men, the unique modifier for the all-new X-Men is also kind of a neat little thing. So if you had, and even with the Avengers Infinity, where they decided to say, okay, look, if you're not a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy team, you get the +1 attack and defense or whatever, because you're before you joined it, because you've got, you got Mantis on an Avengers team because she was an Avenger or something like that.
It's all right. What's the one mechanic you think people don't understand, and how would you fix that? What mechanic don't, like, what do you, when it comes to, line of fire. Because like I'm going back to my judging, and I'm like, what do I get the most number of questions about? And I feel like people don't understand how line of fire works. And like there's so frequently, it's one of the more frequent questions I get as a judge. It's like, is this a line of fire? And like so often it's just a matter of getting a string out or being able to count a certain number of squares, right?
Exactly.
And I don't know how to, like, there used to be a chart that was super useful, and it was a really cool thing when people used to print this off on the internet. But generally I think it's one of the most misunderstood, or like people just don't understand line of fire in a grid system. It's the only thing I can think of that's a mechanic that people don't understand, because it's the one I get the most questions about. For the most part, people generally understand the rest of the game. I mean, but maybe I'm not judging the right events. I don't know.
I think to follow up, and I agree with you, because I've had the situation before, and where maybe it's not necessarily an issue that they don't understand it. It's the logic behind it. And I'll give you an example. Two opposing characters, you're basically 4 squares. So you're trying to attack the guy in the middle. So like you've got 2 opposing, and then you've got the guy in the middle. And you can hit him, but you can't outwit him. And that is like, but I can see him. If I'm punching him, I can see him. I should be therefore able to outwit him, because I know that he's physically there. And I should be able to say, wait a second, dude, that I can see through these 2 other people. I'm going to say you can't use your whatever. Logically, that makes sense. Yeah. I should be able to do that. But because of the way the line of fire works, that a lot of people have that problem. If I were to pick one, it's still okay, what do you talk? It's fucking pulse wave. I think
pulse wave does lead to a lot of questions.
Well, wait a second. If I've perplexed him, and does the perplex stay if the perplexer is not in this line of area of effect?
Well, the new pulse wave is actually so much easier for that, because the new pulse wave says printed defense. It doesn't matter if your perplexer is outside of it.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying that it used to be like,
it used to be.
I can see into it, but does that mean how do you read?
Yeah. All right. Next question. If you could make a new mechanic for Heroclix, what would it be, and how would it work? I would take the Teen Titans team ability, and I would make it a new team ability. because it's cute that it's the X-Men team ability, but I don't think they're really kind of like the X-Men. I think they're more like a team that teams, and I think what happens is as one character is doing well on the team, the rest of the team should be doing well. So my thought on what the Teen Titan team ability should be would be when character A, like when the character with the Teen Titan ability hits a character, all characters with the Teen Titans ability get +1 to their attack when attacking that same character. Right? Mm-hmm. Make it a unique modifier if it's too strong, but I think it should keep going. Where it's like as they're hitting, if you look at like how Teen Titan comic story fights end, they're one guy's beating them up, then the next guy joins in and is beating them up because they're kind of getting them off their game. Now, I don't want to say -1 to the defense because that's super potent. Yeah. But I'd say like that's what I would personally add to the game. What would you add if you could add a mechanic, Aden?
I don't. Oh God, now I'm gonna think of something. Yeah,
Aden in the dark.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I would do. I've never stopped and thought, well, I would want this on here. I certainly probably would. I would probably. Oh, I don't know. You know what would be cool?
What's that?
Do this.
Let's do it.
And this is just the way that I always think. I have a real problem. I really like the Avengers +1 movement.
Let's do it. Next one. Next exit. We're good.
Yep, good.
Everything's okay.
But the Brotherhood used to be the same thing. The Brotherhood of Mutants team ability used to be the same thing. Yeah. I'd almost want them to have like an opposite X-Men effect.
So like take a power action with a character with the Brotherhood evil team ability.
They've got to be next to each other.
Deal 1 damage to an opposing character.
Yeah.
And then
roll a d6 to see if that guy takes damage.
And see if they take damage as well. I like that.
Something like that.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Monster Society of Evil. Old ATA.
Yeah, but I never did that. But yeah. I know what you're saying. But yeah, no, something like that.
I love this. I get rid of the book light and we lose all light.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, I'm bad with this whole lighting thing. There we go. All right. The last question. And I don't know if you have or if you need to, but anyway, long and short of it is, how likely are WizKids to steal our idea? Very unlikely.
Was that an actual question?
That was the actual question.
Oh my God. I mean,
it wasn't worded that way. It was a little weirdly worded, but I translated it through to how likely is WizKids to take this idea and run with it.
I mean, if they watch these things and take into consideration 2 people who are slightly tired at the end of it, spending like 6 hours of plus of playing
their game, yeah,
and talking about it to various other people, then maybe, I mean, if they did polls, but Christ only knows.
I mean, yeah, honestly, they're really good about just not flat out taking things, or if they're going to take something, it's like, that's a good idea, and they'll warn you.
I'm fair with that, but
I'm going to be brutally honest about this. People who play games are very bad at designing games.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and that's coming from a guy who does design games. Like, people who play your game are the worst people to ask for advice on your design.
Well, yeah, because they didn't think of the original concept. So,
yeah.
Arguably, it's like, well...
Yeah. And a lot of the times, unless a player, and like, it's not, oh my God, the darkness, Charlie Murphy.
Welcome to Move and Attack After Dark. Down.
Yeah, this is like the worst lighting for me. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't look good in any lighting.
I've looked terrible in all lighting too, so. Okay. There we go, beauty. All right.
Good.
Yeah, if a player is not trained in game design, they don't react well or intelligently to why design decisions are made. I mean, 9 times out of 10, there's a good reason behind design decisions, and then there's team bases.
Then there's Zero in the Tester.
The Zero in the Tester is clearly tested, because in 300 points he doesn't test you.
No, but
right? testing doesn't happen above 300 points. We got it. We know that.
There's certain level and certain things that happen for a reason, like you said.
Yeah.
There's a game design, or at least there's the idea of some kind of design. A pet peeve that I don't know if I've ever said before, but it's when you've got a set that's come out and it's a sub-theme. So the perfect example would be, what was it, Superior Foes, where they did the Serpent Society.
Mm-hmm.
And the Serpent Society is meant to be played as a team. So you would think that they would include enough figures to include if you're going to make a 300-point team.
Yeah.
If I am not mistaken, if you take all the Serpent Society people from Superior Foes of Spider-Man and put them on a team, you're looking at somewhere in the range of 245 to 265.
And that's at like peak top point values?
And that's top dial, everything.
And I don't think there's an active decision behind the scenes in WizKids to say, we're going to do this every time.
No,
right?
It's just some weird-ass thing where they've come up with these things. Now, sometimes...
Sorry, I realized I have the window open, so it probably isn't doing well, but I needed some air.
Sorry.
No, that's my fault.
And, like, I understand certain design schematics, and why, or we've just learned to accept them. Because what's going to be said to us, what are we going to say, where our voices are heard in that sense. Now, that being said, if you don't speak up, sometimes you might get somebody else. But no, there's a lot of weird design ideas that, I don't know, sometimes you just stop and think to yourself, well, what the hell were you thinking? WizKids office people. And
to kind of add on that, though, I do think at a time, let's go to the time of Superior Foes of Spider-Man. When we were building teams, we weren't building with a 300 points worth of figures in mind. It was a certain number of figures and then extra things on top of that when that set first came out.
Well, so that's true. I mean, you did have like the 35-point full round table.
Yeah, and there's so many off-board elements at the time. I feel like they kind of looked at it and said, if they add like a Proteus to their team and then some ID cards, they have 300 points. They're close enough.
I know, but it was just...
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's something severely lacking where I'm not supposed to play I can play all these guys together, but I have to add an extra element that I may not have. Or like you're clearly missing some figure. Another one, the animated series, Justice League, from the Batman animated set. I love the set. It's a fantastic set. Yeah. We didn't get a Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, but it was a Batman set.
I know, but we didn't get the Martian Manhunter from the Justice League Unlimited.
This is a common complaint I've heard, and...
I know, I complain about it a lot.
Like, there's cons coming up, con exclusives that gotta get made, prize figures that gotta get made. They gotta leave the door open for something for some of that stuff.
I'll accept that for the Woolly Mammoth Ghost Rider, but I'm not going to accept that for my John Jones.
But why? Because we got the Hawkman, remember we got the Hawkman KC that one year, and we got the...
Yeah, but you got... you had 6 or 7 KC people, and it was like, okay, well, these are the main guys. All these con-exclusive KC guys, it's like, well, we're picking people from a panel.
And, Martian Manhunter could easily be a con-exclusive.
So that's what you're trying to get at.
And, okay, so let's go back to your Serpent Society.
Yeah.
Next set was Deadpool and the X-Force.
Yeah.
How many points was Anaconda?
I have absolutely no idea.
60.
Okay.
So you had a 240 points Serpent Society.
Arguably.
Added a 60-point character. Found your 300-point Serpent Society.
I know, but the point was at the time they didn't do that. And second of all,
But this is what I'm saying, is they're a collectible game that releases other sets. You got to give them design space in the next sets to fill out the
I'll give you that. But I mean, when you sub-theme like that, it's like you're going to include enough that you're going to... Just my argument.
Yeah. Oh, I get you. I'm trying to... This is what a game designer can do to calm your friends down.
Because I'm assuming that your wife is still awake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 9:30.
I don't know.
I think the kids are the ones who are... She might still be reading to my daughter, to be honest. All right. Okay. Move and attack. We've moved. We've attacked. We're done. Have a good one, guys. Congratulations to Tom Kerr, 2-time ROC Canada Cup champion. We keep it in the ROC. Canadians, keep it in the ROC.